Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Anissa Fitriani, and here I want to present about what the teachers do, what steps should be taken, and how is the application if the teacher have students with special needs, mental, and pronunciation. The first is, what should the teachers do? Each teacher was asked to list the three major concerns regarding teacher science to students with disabilities. The concern was often mentioned by elementary, middle school science, and high school science teachers included the following. The first is develop a yours, mine, and ours approach to designing programs to include students with disabilities. It is important to remember that we are all accountable in some way. For the success of the students in the classroom, no one can be expected to know everything about every disability or do everything necessary to meet the academic and social needs of all students. And the second is require general education pre-service teacher to include coursework in special education and a file-based experience in inclusive settings as a part of their program of studies. Educating teachers in the rationale for mainstreaming, accommodation, instructional strategies, and behavior management will likely improve attitude and a willingness to teach students with special needs. The third, seek professional development opportunities to learn more about special needs students. Increasingly, presentation at professional conference include sessions in which model programs are described and best practice identified. Additional research are available through videotape, books, and journals. Fourth, when planning science method course, reach out to special educator, master teacher in whose classes students with disabilities are integrated. Utilize community guest speakers to help bring awareness, compassion, and practical approach to beginning classroom teachers. Encourage teachers to do action research specific to science and students with disabilities. 5. Employ strategies that emulated the principle of inclusive education. And the part 2, what steps should be taken by the teacher if they have students with special needs, mental and pronunciation? Nowadays, children that have special needs are integrated into a classroom environment with other mainstream schools more often than was the case in the past. This, of course, is a step in the right direction for integration. However, for many mainstream teachers, they just don't have the background knowledge and education to cope with stressful situations that could ensue as a result. By providing additional research, children with special needs can flourish in a mainstream environment, and there are strategies to make it easier. The first is learn about the student's special needs. When a child is deemed to have difficulties, they will have a learning plan in place and often a member of staff who oversees the education of such students. It's important that as a teacher get to know the education plan, which will give you the details of what the student is currently or needs to be receiving in order to move forward. And the second is keep copies of work to show special educator. Although you won't have to submit all work, you should keep a folder of some so that you can show it to the special education teacher so they can see what areas the child needs help at the next meeting and what strategies are working to help them improve. The third, multiple assessment tools. Now, more than ever, specialists as well as teachers are realizing that Standard tests do not suit all students, which can mean that a child that seems to be struggling could benefit from, say, submitting their test orally rather than on paper or using a device such as an iPad or computer. The fourth, supporting life skill. Children with special needs can lack the ability to do things that others take for granted, such as tying shoelaces, holding a pencil correctly for neither handwriting, or even just knowing how to behave in a class environment. As well as the curriculum, it's important to also concentrate on life skills, including social skills, so that they can flourish. The fifth, collaborative planning and teaching. Allow parents and specialists involved with the student's education in any way to enter the classroom so that you can work together. Other people, especially the parents, may have coping mechanisms that you would otherwise be unaware of as may the specialist. And the sixth, have a management plan in place. To have an inclusive classroom, you will need to find a way to manage behavior to keep control of all students. This means that you should have clear goals and expectations in place for all. Have a classroom environment that suits a diverse range of students rather than the majority, so all can do well in a comfortable environment they actually want to learn in. And the last is, how is the application if the teacher have the students with special needs mental and pronunciation. Not everyone learn in the same way, and you can follow some tips to create a well-rounded learning atmosphere. The first is maintain an organized classroom and limit distraction. For students with special needs, maintaining a healthy balance of structure and unstructured process is important. For example, on each student's desk, have a place for everything that is clearly labeled. And the second is use music and voice inflection. When transition to an activity, use a short song to finish up one task and move to another. Many of us have sung the cleanup while cleaning up before the next activities. Using proper pronunciation and sometimes slightly exaggerating proper speech will help a child model the same principle. And the third, break down instructions into smaller, manageable tasks. Students with special needs often have difficulty understanding long-winded or several instructions at once. For children with learning disabilities, it is best to use simple, concrete sentences. You might have to break down a step into a few smaller steps to ensure your students with special needs understand what you are asking. And the fourth, use multisensory strategies. As all children learn in different ways, it is important to make every lesson as multisensory as possible. Students with learning disabilities might have difficulty in one area, while they might excel in another. For example, use both visual and auditory cues. Create opportunities for tactile experience. And the fifth, give students with special needs opportunities for success. Children with learning disabilities often feel like they do not succeed in certain areas, but structuring lessons that lead to successful results is a way to keep them motivated. Okay, that's all from me. I'm so sorry if I had any mistake. And the last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.